Please join me in welcoming Terrell Davis.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you, Talene. Where my Bronco fans at in here? That's right. Where's my Raider fans at? I was going to say, escort that person out this door immediately if they talk. Listen, man, how my Broncos going to do this year? You guys know? Better? Case Keenum going to take us where we got to go or what? You think so? Ooh, I don't know. We'll find out, man. So here's the plan today. I'm going to talk for about 25 to 30 minutes. And then after that, if all goes well, I'll field some questions for you guys. Is that cool? Sound like a good plan? Okay. So in 2002, when I retired from football, I was fortunate enough to get into the business world. Jumped right in. Didn't know anything about business, just jumped right into the business world. Ended up owning a lending company. Had a construction company where we built over 200 homes in San Diego. And was an owner and operator of a hotel right here in Parker, Colorado. I also had a restaurant. So I got a chance to experience business up close and personal. And the one striking thing that I noticed about business was that it didn't have a team concept that was attached to it. There were a lot of individuals in that space, and they were just doing their own things. You know, when I was running the hotel, I noticed that people would come to work, they'd go back home. There was no team bonding, no events outside of the hotel. And I thought that was strange because I came from a background in the National Football League where everything we did was team building. It was you were with your teammates every single day. You were with your coaching staff, your managers, and it was all about getting to know somebody who was different from you, somebody who had a different background, somebody had different religious beliefs. So I looked at that and I was like, man, this is the model. This has to be something that is incorporated in the business world. And so what I did was I went back to my business partner and we started to incorporate little things to make our employees, we don't like to call them employees, we call them team members, feel like they were a part of something and not just working for a company, but working with the company. And so looking at that, I was like, you know what, this is really something that most people need to know about. Because if you've never come from sports, you don't understand the benefits of sports and how it affects what you do and how your mindset, what your goals are, how there's team morale, there's things that boost you up when you encounter things that are complicated, when there's a shift in the market, when there's obstructions and disruptions. So I started to look at that and we started to implement things around and we were pretty successful in doing that. So today I'm gonna focus on the three common things or three core themes, and one is gonna be your internal team. And that's your teammates, your coaching staff, people that work inside the business with you. That's what we're gonna focus on with that one. The second thing is your external team. Now in the NFL, the external team, those are the fans. Those are people who love the sport, who love the fantasy football, people who buy the DirecTV, the people that come up to me and get the autograph. So that's the external team. And it's kind of an extension of your team, and you have to think about it like that. So in business, your external team, those are your customers. Those are the people that love their product, the people who are brand loyal. That's the external team. And then the third thing is celebrating. Now, to me, I call this the gasoline and the oil to the engine. Because if you are in a team environment and you're not celebrating, then it's hard to have morale. It's hard to keep things up when things fall apart. So I'm a big fan of celebrating. Now, I'm not saying go out there and go to nightclubs all night and have a good time, which I did, but that's just me. But celebrating, I think, is very important. So let's talk about your building your internal team. Let me ask you guys a question. What's the main reason Tim Tebow is not in the National Football League? You guys know?
He's too hard on the business of football.
He's too hard on it. You think so?
His NFL play is twice as long as any other. Blockers have to block twice as long.
Oh,
Travel twice as long. He's hard on the business.
very smart man. You know where I'm going with this, don't you? All right, so let's talk about Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow obviously was drafted here. He had this phenomenon thing called the Tebowing. I mean, it was so popular that he had Disney characters doing it. He had cats doing it. He had babies doing it. Everybody was doing it. I was even doing the Tebow. It was so catchy. I loved it. Obviously, he was the first sophomore to win the Heisman Trophy. He was a three-time Heisman finalist. Three-time Heisman finalist. That means that he won it once, and he was a finalist 2 other times. That is remarkable. That means that boy's got some skills there. He won 2 national championships at the University of Florida. He had 28 University of Florida records. That's a lot of records. He has 14 Southeastern Conference records. Amazing. And he has 5 NCAA records. So clearly, the boy can play. Let's take a look at Tebow's journey. He was drafted here with the Broncos in 2010. In his second year, that's when that phenomenon, that thing called Tebowing, took over. And I wouldn't even watch the first 3 quarters. I just watched the last quarter. I show up, 2 minutes left in the game, Broncos down 35 points. Right? 2 minutes left in the game, you're down 35 points. How are they going to win this game? But I don't know. It happened. I looked up, and the Broncos would win that game because of that man right there. And he led them to an 8-8 record and their first playoff win in over 5 years. Now, you would think that John Elway and the Denver Brass would say, hey, you know what? We got ourselves a quarterback. Let's build around him. Let's get some pieces to make things happen. But after that year, there was a quarterback that was available. His name was Peyton Manning. And they said, you know what? We liked him, but I think we're going to love Peyton. They decided to ship Tim Tebow off to the New York Jets, where he did not create that magic that he had in Denver. Spent a year there, and then they decided that after that year, his services were no longer needed. He goes off to the New England Patriots. Failed to make the roster with the Patriots, and all of a sudden, he goes to the Eagles. They keep him during training camp, and then they release him. So he went to the SEC Network, where he started to cover college football, and he had a passion still, wanted to try to keep his dreams alive, but that was in baseball. So he tried out for the Mets, and he's been on their minor league team ever since, and he's been trying to make his way back to football, but actually getting better at baseball. So that's sort of Tim Tebow's path. So what was ailing Tim Tebow? What was the issue that he dealt with? You have this highly talented individual, but somehow he could not make the roster of the other 28 teams in the National Football League. So let's take a look at him. You talked about it. So here's an illustration for those who don't watch football. I'm breaking it down pretty simple for you, okay? This football is Tebow. I'm going to give him 2 wide receivers. That number 10 is a receiver. That guy right there is another receiver. I'm going to put there on the screen the S. That stands for safety. That is a defender. He's going to tackle. His job is to cover one of these receivers. If I send this receiver right here on call this a dig route, we'll put this other receiver on a post route. The job of the safety is to cover one of these guys. If he covers that dig route, then Tebow's supposed to throw the ball there to the guy in the post. If he covers the other route, if he covers that route, then he's supposed to throw it there. But for some reason, Tim will not do either of those things. So now he stays back in the pocket, and now receivers this guy will cover there. He's all over the place, and he just starts scrambling. He's scrambling. So now you got the quarterback scrambling all over the place. He finally gets the ball, throws it down, touchdown. And we're all going crazy. We're like, man, this boy is bad. He's bad, but there was one small problem with that play. What was the problem, sir?
It takes twice as long as an NFL play should.
Twice as long. So he held the ball for 10 seconds. The average play in the National Football League lasts 3 seconds. So you can't ask somebody to block for 10 seconds. You can't ask a coach to drop a play that lasts 10 seconds. You can't ask the quarterback to do it every single game running around for 10 seconds. You can't ask your wide receivers to run around for 10 seconds. So Tim Tebow's issue was that he was not predictable. He was not predictable to his teammates. Individually talented, very talented young man, but he was playing a single game. He was playing a game that if you're, whether you're a tennis player or a golfer, maybe that's a game you can play. But when you have teammates around you, they depend on you to be somewhere at a certain time. And Tim Tebow was not that. So you got to be predictable with teammates. Now, this story I'm going to tell you right here is one that kind of sticks with me, and I want to share the story with you. It happened in my second year in the National Football. That's my rookie year with the Broncos. And we were in training camp, and we had just finished practice up, and we go back and we watch the tape. And that was pretty typical of the team to watch film right after our practice. And we're sitting there watching tape, and Ed McCaffrey's running a route. And Mike Shanahan, our head coach at the time, says, he pauses the tape. He said, "Ed, how deep are you supposed to be on your route?" And Ed says, 10 yards. And Mike says, "Well, how deep are you?" Ed says, 12 yards. And Mike had this knack for explaining everything. He said, "I really need you to be 10 yards, and here's why." He says, "We're putting our all-pro quarterback on a 5-step drop. When that back foot hits that 5th step, that ball is going to be out to you on time. And if you haven't come out of your break, we then have to look for our all-pro tight end, Shannon Sharp, on the crossing route. If he's not there, we got to bring out our punter, Tom Ruin, and punt the ball away. Because I promised our line that ball would be gone in 2.8 seconds. So if John is back there patting the ball, looking for you to come out of your break, and you haven't come out of your break yet, we have to throw the ball away and punt the ball because you went 2 yards too deep." And Ed was like, "Whoa." There it is. A little late. But it really dawned on me, I had never had anybody explain that to me in all the years I had played football, that my job and what I did was connected to the other 10 players on the field. I thought I was just an individual back there running my routes, doing things that were isolated from the things that the other players were doing. So that really brought it to my attention that no matter what you guys do in your business, everything is connected. Whether it's processing, whatever you're doing, they're all connected. The systems are connected. So don't look at your job or your assignment as something that is isolated. It's all connected. The better you can do your job, the better you can do your task, is going to help your teammates out in a big way. Now here's another illustration. When I come out as a rookie, as a running back, of course, that I thought that the game was all about me. I thought it was all about me, that I got the football and everybody else had to do their job to make sure that I looked good. I figured on this play like this, is my offensive line. I was like, "All right, man, you just go block. You block and I'll run right there. That's it. You block that guy and I'll run off of him." But what I realized is that defenders have something that my offensive line didn't have. You guys know what that is? You said it. They got eyes, big eyeballs. So my offensive line can't see where that guy is. So I got to help him do his job in a way that's going to help me and the team. So if I run up on this play, which is to the left side, all this guy's going to do is go up there and tackle me. That's all he's going to do is go and tackle me. So what I have to do is make sure that I do my job in a way that I convince this guy that I'm coming down here, and now he comes to make his tackle, and now my guy blocks him. Didn't I just help my offensive lineman out? Didn't I help him out? He should be giving me watches at the end of the year. Why am I giving him watches? And then I score a touchdown. I get all the glory. But that's what teammates do. Teammates do their job in a way that helps the other teammate out. Now, I want all you guys in this room to think about some ways that you guys can do a better job of helping your teammate out, because that's what it's all about. It's not about, can I go to work and do my job and stay in my cubicle and just focus on my task? It's how can I do my job in a way that's going to help others out? And I'm telling you, man, in a team environment, that is gold. That is gold, big time. I was working for the NFL Network in 2003, and I went there, and I remember just thinking, looking around, and we'd have a day crew and a night crew. And the day crew, they would go through all the prompters and all the reads and everything, and I'd come in on the night crew about 11 o'clock at night, and the same mistakes that the day crew were dealing with, they would pass it on to the night crew. And I was thinking, well, they knew the prompter was incorrect in the day, why don't they just clean it up? So that was just people, they weren't worried about what we had to go through. They just did their own job and said, screw it, we're gonna pass it over to them, let them deal with it. And so now we're sitting there with a minimal amount of time to prepare for a show, having to clean up all the mess that they could have cleaned up in the daytime, which would have been nice for us, but they didn't. So think about 3 ways that you can do your job in a way that helps your teammates out. Now I'm gonna show you this video right here. This is my 2,000-yard video, and I'll talk to you about it after I play it.
The Broncos and Terrell.
Oh, I get emotional every time I see that video. But the reason I show you that video was not about me. You guys look at that and they say TD got 2,000 yards. That video was about all the guys who were speaking on that video. It was about the bond that we made that season, and that 2,000 yards, that was for them. You know, Rod Smith, Mark Schlereth, Howard Griffith, Shannon Sharp, those are all guys that we fought as a team, we bonded as a team, and any accomplishment that I got, it was ours. It wasn't about one person. And that's to me, that's what teamwork is about. That's what the fun part about doing things in a group, you know, with the group, with people that you can share that experience with. So that was an awesome experience for me, and I still got my 2,000-yard cleats, though. Those are my cleats. They can't have those. So let's talk about the football is the customer. And this story I'm going to tell you kind of came when I was watching a game. I'm on the sideline, and our team, we're driving down the field, and we get down to about the 10-yard line. And all of a sudden, there's a penalty call. And a ref comes onto the field, and he takes the football, and he backs it up 10 yards. And as I'm looking at that, I'm like, I realized that football is the customer. That football was happy. He was happy going down the field. He wanted to go score a touchdown. It was our job to put him in the end zone. As long as he's happy going down the field, he's going to stick with you. But the minute you have a penalty, you do something wrong that's not right, they're going to take your football, which is your customer, and they're going to penalize you, or they're going to take it from you. So the realization was this football became the customer. Everything I did as a running back, this was it. I was playing for this guy. This guy and I, we had a bond. I couldn't drop him. I couldn't fumble him. Because if I fumbled him, you know what happens? Another company picks him up, takes him away. He's gone. So you have to look at the football as the customer. You have to treat him with care. You got to make sure that you don't have to punt him away. That when they entrust you with this customer, that you're going to treat him and put him in the end zone. That's where he wants to be. That's where he's happiest. And if he's happy, he's going to stick with you. So I've kind of used this as my customer, and you guys should just look at the football as that and treat your customers in a way that if you're treating them right and you're getting first downs and you put them in the end zone, they have nowhere to go. They'll stick with you. But the minute you start throwing interceptions, start to fumble them away, somebody else is going to come over there and scoop it up and take your customer away. So we want to make sure we treat our customers with care. Now I'm going to show you this video too. This is Larry Allen in his rookie season. He's a Hall of Famer right now. I'm going to show you this video real quick. Try to speed through this.
Under 5 minutes left in the half, and it's knocked in the air and picked off by Darian Connor. And Connor is inside the 40, the 30, and tackled at the 16-yard line.
Larry Allen, I can't believe that. Give me a break. The rookie from Sonoma State. This guy weighs 325 pounds.
Wayne Martin batted it. We think Darian Connor with the pick, and Allen saves the touchdown.
I can't get over that.
He runs down a very speedy linebacker. A little bit of an angle, but this is a huge man.
This guy's got a rocket booster strapped to his back. All right, there's the bat by Martin. Right into Allen is still standing there. There he is to the left of your screen.
He didn't even get a running start at it.
Look at this, folks. 6'3", 325 pounds.
His arms like a sprinter.
I'm telling you, that's one of the most...
Isn't that amazing? Larry Allen was a hustler, man. Jeez. But Larry Allen did what most football players do. Larry Allen felt compelled, he felt empowered to act, right? This guy is 360-something pounds. He's an offensive lineman. He sat there and he went through the mental process, something we all go through. You know, it's not a conscious thing, it's a subconscious thing. Larry Allen had an idea. His idea was, I want to go tackle that man running down the field with my football. So what Larry Allen did was he said, all right, he went through the mental check. He said, is that within my area of responsibility? And it was a check mark. He says, was it illegal to go tackle that guy? No, he can go tackle a guy running down the field with his football. So he did that. The other thing was it unethical? No, he wasn't going to horse collar the guy or trip him up. He just went and go make a tackle. The next thing was, does it contradict his values? No, I think Jerry Jones would appreciate somebody running down to make that tackle. So this is really the subconscious things that we all make that creates great teamwork, great customer service. When you feel compelled and empowered to act, you know, so a lot of things could be taken care of instead of being passed down the line to other people when you can just handle it right there. I was on a phone call the other day calling the credit bureau. Called them up, man, and I went to 4 different operators before they finally had a chance to answer the one thing I was calling for. And it wasn't even that complicated. So the first person could have answered that question. But they transferred me 4 times before they finally asked me what I was calling for. And I'm like, that's ridiculous, right? Why should I have to call and get transferred 4 times when I just had a simple question about my credit report? So when people feel compelled to act and they do things because it's within their area of responsibility, it's not unethical, it's not illegal, that's when things get done. That's the great sign of teamwork, and that's the great sign of customer service. Larry could have played the blame game. He could have said, you know what, Troy Aikman gets paid a lot of money. I'm not going to make that tackle. He could have said, I'm 360 pounds. Ain't no point in me trying. He could have said, hey, coach, you want me to go tackle that guy running down the field with the football? By that time, he would have scored already. He could have said, hey, are there any fast guys available to make that tackle? But Larry didn't do that. Larry acted. And that's what happens. He made the play, and his team appreciates that. So we got to make plays and to help our team out, to make sure that we're advancing things forward. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is celebrating, right? Celebrating is something that I believe that has to happen in every facet. I don't care what you do. If you're not celebrating goals, if you're not getting people to where they're buying in and the morale is there, and you're not patting them on the back every day, it is a hard thing for people to go to work and really try to build that team building aspect. Does anybody know what this picture is? Pretty simple, right? That's exactly what it is. How'd you know when it was super tiny? Huh? It's iconic? Because you know what it is, right? You've seen it before. We all know that that's what success looks like, right? Identifying what success looks like is part of what it is. You know, in the National Football League, everything they do, they celebrate success. You know, whether it's a sack, crowd goes nuts, right? Because they understand the metrics. They understand, oh, they're having success. You know, whether it was getting the first down by Des Bryant, the crowd goes nuts. The team is celebrating that. You know, whether it's catching the game-winning touchdown, we recognize what success looks like. Or you're sitting there and the team kicks that field goal. In the National Football League, success is celebrated on a daily basis, play-by-play basis, on a weekly basis. It is the one thing that keeps NFL players going. Because if you waited to celebrate until you won a national football, the Super Bowl, if you're the Cleveland Browns, you would never celebrate. I mean, you would never, think about it. You go to training camp. All right, guys, when are we supposed to celebrate, Coach? When we win the Lombardi Trophy. Well, Coach, that ain't going to happen, Coach, so I guess we ain't going to celebrate. But we celebrate everything, every single thing. And I remember when I was doing my company, we were building homes down in San Diego. One of our sales agent, I overheard her on the phone call. And when she got off the phone, I went up to her. I said, "Hey, man, that was a great job. Like, that was awesome." And she looked at me like I was crazy. I'm getting excited. And I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry." She was like, "What? I just made a phone call." I'm like, "No, that was great." So we got to celebrate every time we do something, pat somebody on their back, tell them what a great job they did. That's gold. That's what it's about. People want to hear that. People want to feel like that they're being celebrated, that their accomplishments may not be the ultimate goal, but these are steps that are taken to get to that next step. Now, I'm going to skip this video. You guys want to see this video? All right, so the reason I'm going to show you this video is because this is what I thought success looked like in the National Football League. Let me just show you this video.
So we get into the huddle, and they call 17 power. I was like, oh, my God, I've been trying to get a power for so long.
Hey, don't roll this. Hit it downhill.
With power, you running straight downhill. You know where we coming, and we know where y'all going to be lined up at. Now you just got to stop it. I'm saying I'm better than you. Hey, so I see the guard come around, and in my head I'm thinking backside A-gap. But for some reason, it carried me to the front side. Bounce off the first tackle like, might be trouble. Split between Spencer's block, coming off of Sharpen. He grabbed at my foot. I stayed up. I said, it might be trouble. Cover ball with two hands. One of my old teammates, Jabbar Greer, came over the top. He slid off. It's a good run now, but I'm like, it might be trouble. Tracy Porter came up, gave him a little stiff arm. I stayed on my feet.
Get off me, he says to Tracy Porter. Are you kidding me?
We almost was running at top speed. So, I mean, any kind of shove right there would have, threw a man off course. It's just a little baby stiff arm. Yeah, a little baby stiff arm. I believe it was Ellis, came from behind. I took a little quick peek at him and gave him a little stiff arm, still didn't go down. I know it's trouble. The next thing I know, Tyler shot in front of me.
Look at the hustle by Columbus.
They go make her block on Harper. Dive into the end zone, touchdown. And at the time, I'm just thinking like, what the hell just happened? Did this really just happen?
That was an awesome run, by the way, right? I used to believe that that's what success looked like for a running back. I thought if I wasn't doing that, I was not having success. And I was actually told that in college, that I was benched in college because I was not able to break the long runs. Can you believe that? But what I found out very quickly when I got to the National Football League was that it wasn't about the long runs. It was about the power of the 4-yard run. The 4-yard run. And here's why the 4-yard run is a powerful run. Because if you run the ball 3 times and you average 4 yards a carry, that's a first down. If you do it in 3 yards, you're punting, because now, for those who don't know football, let me break it down. You get 4 chances to get 10 yards. So if I get the ball and I average 3 yards, what is that? That's only 9 yards. I got to punt the ball away. The reason a 5-yard run is not a powerful run is because you can't duplicate it. It's harder to duplicate a 5-yard run than it is a 4-yard run. Most backs average 4 yards a carry. So when I was told, all you have to do is get 4 yards, I was like, really? That's it? I mean, it changed my entire the way I saw the running back position. And so we just worked on getting 4 yards, and it became, I wouldn't say it was easy, because nothing's easy, but it became something that we can duplicate, we can count on. It became a system that we can implement, and we can trust it because we know that it's not complicated, to get 4 yards. So most people think running back position, their job is to do that 4 yards and score touchdowns. But what's the true job of a running back? Anybody knows what that is? What's their job? Hold on to the football? Yes, but not really. To control the clock? Nope. Anybody know? Protect the quarterback? The true job of a running back is to get tackled. right? To get tackled. I need to know that you can get tackled and get back up. You're not going to be hurt. You can get tackled, get back up. You're not going to be disappointed. You can get tackled. You're not going to be, discouraged because you got tackled. If I'm a coach looking for a running back, I need to know, can I depend on you to get tackled and get back up? Isn't that what it is in business? How many times are we getting tackled a day? Right? We get tackled a whole lot. Some people go out there, you might be a sales agent. You go out there and you get told no a lot of times. You've been tackled. But if you thought that you weren't going to get tackled and you got tackled, you're going to come back a little dejected. So you got to get ready for being tackled. That's what a coach is looking for. I need a player who can get tackled, get back up, and run the ball again, knowing he's going to get tackled again. So I'm going to show you this, this thing right here. This is really what we try to do is we know we're going to get tackled. So the goal is, before we get tackled, what's the goal? What can I do? As a running back, my goal was to get a first down. My goal was to get out of bounds. My goal was to break a tackle, to do something before I got tackled. We call this in football, you have to fail falling forward. If you fail falling forward, no matter what you do, you're going to have success because you learned something from that play. You've achieved something. It may not be what you wanted to achieve, but you have achieved something during that play. And that's the thing that was constantly on my mind, was if I was going to fall, I was going to fall forward. If I got tackled, I'm going to get tackled moving forward. Barry Sanders is one of the best running backs in the country, well, in history. And he lost a lot of yards. And I prided myself on trying to get tackled and trying to, if I got tackled, to get at least 1 or 2 yards out of that play, even if it was a negative play. So let me just show you this kind of illustration of all the running backs. This thing is kind of out of order here, but let's look at Emmitt Smith here. We think we're going to score touchdowns all the time. That's Emmitt Smith. At the top here, that is his rushes. That's his catches, touchdowns. His scoring percentage is 3.55. That means that every time Emmitt Smith got the ball, he scored in less than 4% of the time. So that means that he got tackled a whole lot, right? You look at LaDainian Tomlinson, 4.27. Marcus Allen, Walter Payton, Jim Brown, the greatest running back ever, 4.81% of the time he scored. So 95% of the time he was tackled. You look at that, 4.81% is a nice thing. 5.2 was his average. So all these backs are really good, but all these backs have one thing in common. Well, you see me at the bottom of the screen. Mine is pretty good, too. That's pretty good, too. Isn't that pretty good, 3.56? That's not bad. That's not bad. But again, we had to fight through it, and we knew that every time we got the football, we weren't going to score a touchdown, so we couldn't get discouraged about that. So as a running back, we got to be prepared to make the adjustments. In your industry right now, you guys are preparing to make the adjustment. There are things going on that you have to get used to. There's a shift. There's constant change. In football, change was every day for us. Our roster looked different, seemed like daily. I can go to my locker and I have a different guy in my locker every single day. So the disruptions were there. And we've had to find ways to make it through that. And if you don't make an adjustment, then you are going to be like Mark Sanchez here, right here, in the infamous butt fumble. You see, Mark this was the perfect play for him right here. He actually had it blocked perfectly. He could have chosen any hole to go through except that one. All right, man, that's it for me. Thank you very much. I'm going to answer some questions if you have any. We got about 6 minutes left, so anybody want to ask any questions? Don't be shy.
I got a question.
Go for it.
Who's your favorite teammate?
My favorite teammate? My favorite teammate? Oh, I can't say that, man. Give me another question. Go ahead.
So, Jerry Jones gets Roger Goodell kicked out. They come to you and say, you're going to be our new commissioner of football. What's the one thing you would change?
That's a great question. The one thing I would change, so many. I would change some of the rules. The rule that I hate the touchback rule. And that's the rule, if the offense is running, if they're running the ball into the end zone and they fumble the ball, on the 1 yard line and it goes through the end zone and out the back or side, they're penalized by taking the ball away from them, and then they put the ball, they give it to the defense and they put it on the 20-yard line. I would just say if they fumble the ball, it's a penalty. They retain the ball and they move back 10 yards. That's the one thing I would change. I got some other stuff I changed too. Who else?
Do you think there's a way to make football safe?
Okay, that's a great question. I think football is safe. There's no thinking about it. Football is safe. I'm going to give you a few reasons why. Number one, when I played football growing up as a kid, football was taught differently. It was taught to be a gladiator sport. It was taught that practice was meant to toughen you up. So we did a lot of drills in practice that had nothing to do with the actual game of football. They have eliminated that. The equipment and the advancement of technology has made the equipment safer. So that's another reason. They're teaching kids how to tackle in a different method of tackling now, which is more rugby-style tackling. So that's another reason why I like it. And then they've identified what concussions look like. So they're now pulling kids out of plays longer. When I was playing, you get hit, you get dinged up, you're seeing stars, they got the salt, you smell it, they put you back into the game. So no, but listen, it's a collision sport. There's always going to be some injuries in the game, but yes, it's a safe sport. Soccer has more concussions than football. Youth soccer does, that's a fact. But I don't hear people saying they're going to take their kids out of soccer. Football is a safe sport, yeah. It's by definition, you're going to have some incidental things that happen, but my kids, 10 years ago, real quick, 10 years ago, I said that my kids would not play football. I was adamant, they wouldn't play football. But since I've seen the changes, I've seen the legislation behind the game, I am confident now. My 7-year-old, he plays flag football. The day he tells me he wants to play tackle, I'm going to let him play. I have no problems with that. Oh, yeah, what I learned was that in sports, we're constantly evaluated on a daily basis. When I got into business, we had people who had never been told, they never had a review of their jobs. They were never evaluated. So they were doing the same things over and over. They were ingraining bad habits that no one had told them that was a bad habit. And so in sports, what I loved about it is that, listen, yeah, you get your feelings hurt. Nobody wants to be told that they're not doing a good job. But when somebody tells me that, I say thank you. The awareness that I need to improve on something, that's priceless. Because otherwise, you're not growing. There's no growth there. And so what I try to do with everything that I put my hand on, business, my kids, I try to give them some feedback. And a lot of times, it's hard because people don't want to hear it, but it's necessary. I call that eating, you have to eat the broccoli. Seriously, I call it eating the broccoli. I don't like to be told that I suck, but I got to hear it. I don't like watching myself on tape, fumbling the ball or doing some bad things, but I got to see it because otherwise I'll continue to do it. Yeah.
Compared to when you played a running backs seem to be a commodity nowadays, and they're like with AIME or Bell, fighting for a large contract. Are running backs going to be paid, and are they just going to be 3-4 years spit out and start over?
No, I think they're getting paid. They are getting paid again. But I think so. What happens is, because there's this stigma about injuries, that probably about 15 years ago, teams started to spread the risk. They started getting a 2-back, 3-back system, which is just, you're hedging your bet. If my star running back goes down, I got 2 other guys that can play. And when you do that, you limit production. So now I can't demand a high contract when I'm only getting 800 yards a year. I'm only carrying the ball 150 times. And I don't know if that was intentional, but it happened because they were trying to protect their interest and making sure that the star running back was there. I remember when I got hurt in 1999, a week later, Sports Illustrated had on the front page from one of our players in our locker room who said that we're done. And so the idea was that since they had lost me, we weren't going to win any more games. which wasn't true. Obviously, we won some games. We lost a few games, but we ended up coming out of that season okay because other running backs stepped up. So I think that's why they do it. Anybody back there? Yes.
You were inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2017. In your opinion, what got you there? Your mental toughness, your teammates, your family, your coaches? What got you to the Hall of Fame?
All of the above. I look at it as there's ingredients, and you need every single ingredient to get you to this point. I had family that was there that helped with this. I had friends, I had teammates. If you ask me from a personal standpoint, the thing that got me there was the mental shift that I had to make to believe that I was a Hall of Famer. And I didn't think about that when I was playing, but I had to believe that I was good. And most times, it's when somebody is trying to achieve something, it's the mental thing that either stops them or propels them to getting to where they have to go. And I remember I had to make a mental shift when I was in college. I was sitting there one day watching our team. I was injured, and I was watching my team play, and I was out for 6 games. And we had 4 more games to play that was left in our season, or at least in my career. I was a senior. And I remember asking myself a question. I was like, man, did I really give this game all I had? And I had to have an honest talk with myself. And I remember the answer that came back was no. For some reason, I was going through the motion. I was not living up to my full potential. And I made a promise that day. I said, you know what? If I'm able to get back onto the football field, whether it's 4 games or 1 or 2 games, that I was going to play the best I could. I was going to be the real Terrell Davis that I knew I could be. And from that day on, I started to play like I knew I could. I just started to just go out there and not worry about anything other than just being a really good football player, working hard, doing all the things that I knew I should have been doing before, which I wasn't doing. I was the guy that would show up late to meetings. I'm the first one out. I hated lifting weights. I didn't like weights at all. I didn't like working out. I had bad habits. And it took some time. It didn't change the next day, but I had to work on building good habits. And once I did that, man, it was amazing how things just opened up and how I just put myself in a position just to be successful. One more, or I see 2 minutes on the clock. We got 2 more minutes? All right. Can I get one more? One more. Go ahead.
What made you an effective leader on your team?
Great question. Leadership, so what made me an effective leader on my team was that I knew my role as a leader. I was not a vocal leader. I led by example. So once I identified that was my strength, that's what I played to. I was not the guy to go to people on the sideline and try to get them hyped for a game. I figured if I'm going to lead, I have to lead with my actions. So when I'm on the football field doing everything I did, now I can go to a guy if I needed to and ask him to raise his game. He's not looking at me side-eyed like, wait a minute, you out there fumbling the ball, you out there, messing up. Why should I do anything differently? So I realized the value in me doing things, saying what I'm going to do and do what I'm going to say was sort of the things that I sort of leaned on. And it worked for me. And we had other guys who were vocal leaders. And so I think that's why the mix was really good, because we had vocal leaders, we had guys who led by example. But yeah, for me, my strength was just leading by example. I was not a guy that talked a lot. So thank you guys very much, man. Enjoy it. Hope you had a good one. Appreciate it. Oh, where's my balls? Wait a minute. What happened to them? You give them away? All right, I'm throw this ball here. I want to see if you guys got some hands out in this audience. Don't kill anybody, please. You think I can throw it? That ball is slick.